All right, the half-yearly exam is breathing down your neck, and Robert Frost's A Roadside Stand might still feel a little confusing. Don't worry, this isn't about rereading the whole thing over and over. This is your game plan, your strategic guide to hitting exactly what those examiners are looking for.
Yeah? Does this feel familiar? It's a tricky poem, you know? It's packed with social commentary and this kind of quiet anger, so it's totally normal to feel a bit lost. That panic when you're not sure what details actually matter, it's real.
So let's just hit pause, take a deep breath. A half-yearly isn't the final boss battle. It's more like a checkpoint. You don't need to be a world expert on the American economy in the 1930s. You just need to nail the core ideas, the ones that get you the marks. And that's exactly what we're about to do.
Before we even touch any of the complex themes, we've got to build a solid foundation. You know, the biggest mistake people make is overcomplicating the basic plot. So let's start with the most fundamental question: what actually happens in this poem?
It really is this simple. Step 1, some poor farmers build a stand. Step 2, and this is crucial, they are not begging. They want to earn some of the money, the cash, to feel a part of that city life with some dignity. And step 3, the problem that fuels the entire poem. The wealthy city folks in their shiny cars just zoom right past, completely ignoring them. That's the whole story, a simple, unfulfilled hope for just one sale.
Okay, so now that we have the story down, let's see how that simple plot explodes into the poem's big ideas. Because that one failed sale, it's the launchpad for the main conflict, this massive, uncrossable divide between the city and the countryside. This is the #1 thing examiners want to see you talk about.
You've basically got two worlds crashing into each other. On one side, you have the urban world. They're all about apathy and indifference. They're so focused on where they're going, with a mind ahead, that they don't see people trying to survive. They just see an ugly eyesore. Then, on the other side, you have the rural world, which is all about this desperate, almost naive hope, what Frost calls a childish longing. They wait all day in what feels like an open prayer for just one car, just one person to stop. It's a head-on collision between complete indifference and heartbreaking desperation.
And this is where the narrator, Frost himself, really steps in. He is not a neutral observer here. He is furious. And his anger is pointed right at the politicians, the social planners, the so-called good doers who show up with these grand plans to help the poor, but really just end up controlling and exploiting them.
All right, let's get tactical. You know those extract-based questions that can make or break your score? Well, for this poem, your focus should be on 2 specific passages that come up again and again.
First up, the very beginning of the poem. These opening lines are so important because they set the entire scene and the emotional mood for everything that's about to happen. So, if you get this stanza on your exam, here's your mental checklist. The phrase, pathetically pled, tells you the stand itself looks pitiful and desperate. The flower of cities is this beautiful metaphor for all the prosperity and vibrancy of urban life that these farmers are completely shut out from. And once again, the passage makes it crystal clear. Their goal is to earn, not to get a dole of bread.
And here it is, the second heavy-hitter passage. This is where Frost just unleashes his sharpest critique, and it is absolutely packed with literary devices.
The key to unlocking this part is to analyze the language. The tone is just dripping with scorn and suspicion. And that phrase, beneficent beasts of prey, that's a brilliant oxymoron. Beneficent means kind and charitable, right? But beasts of prey are predators. Frost is showing us the predatory nature hiding behind a mask of kindness. It's hypocrisy summed up perfectly. Okay, home stretch. Let's lock in the 3 most important phrases from this poem. If you can explain these 3 confidently, trust me, you are in a fantastic position to do really well. First, childish longing. This phrase captures that pure, innocent, but totally hopeless desire of the farmers. The word childish isn't an insult. It's meant to show us just how naive and heartbreaking their constant waiting really is. It's the tragedy of a dream that's never, ever going to come true. Second, polished traffic. Now, this is a cool literary device called a transferred epithet. Sure, the cars are literally polished, but Frost is transferring that quality to the people inside the cars. They are also polished, sophisticated, wealthy, shiny on the outside, but emotionally cold and completely indifferent to the suffering right outside their car windows.
And finally, the knockout phrase, beneficent beasts of prey. This oxymoron is the absolute key to understanding Frost's entire critique. It smashes together charity and predation to show how the very people pretending to help are actually the ones doing the most harm, exploiting the poor while pretending to save them.
So, the million-dollar question: how do you pull all of this together into a winning strategy for your exam? It's actually way simpler than you think.
I want you to just remember the number 2.
The entire poem really boils down to two core ideas: the cold indifference of the city and the hopeless longing of the countryside. And to unlock those themes in your answers, you just need to master two key phrases: childish longing and beneficent beasts of prey. So here's your final checklist, your game plan. 4 simple steps. 1. Know those two core themes. 2. Master those two key phrases. 3. Make sure you actually use the poem's key words in your answers. And 4, the most important one, stay calm and read the questions carefully. That's it. That's the whole strategy.
Seriously, you've done the work, you have the strategy, you've got this. The best revision you can do for yourself right now is to close the books, trust that you know your stuff, and get some rest.
And as you're winding down, here's one final thought to leave you with. Frost wrote this poem decades ago as a powerful critique of a deeply unequal world. And the question it kind of leaves hanging in the air is, has anything really changed?